Are you scaling up a game or product development organization? Do you know that some things need to change, but you aren't sure exactly where to begin? What cycles and cadences should you introduce to balance progress against stability and delivery? Welcome to Agile Scaling Foundations with Barry Hawkins. Please be sure to like and subscribe. This video series is based on training that I provided over the years, both as a game and product development leader building teams internally and as a consultant helping clients scale or overhaul their organizations. In this episode, I'll share the next 4 things to start with as you're scaling your game or product development organization, especially when using the team of teams approach. Begin with a few monthly stakeholder reviews before you introduce the quarterly reviews. You'll recall from our episode on the core events of Scaling Agile with Team of Teams that we have 3 meetings that each function at different cadences and at different altitudes. You would want to, of course, put your biweekly syncs in right away so that you're coordinating execution across teams. And then, as we talked about in part 1, you're introducing the monthly stakeholder reviews, which is that monthly cadence of taking that portfolio view of the backlog, roadmap, deep diving on key initiatives. And I advise groups to get a few of those behind you before you then add on the quarterly review for a couple of reasons. One, you sort of burn in the format both for the people in your team of teams leadership who need to deliver the monthly stakeholder review, but you also condition your attendees, stakeholders, and executives on the kind of material and the format of the session. So that sets everyone up to, one, get comfortable with having a monthly altitude tuned in, dialed in, before you then introduce the quarterly, where you're then taking it up to an even higher level. Because at that point, we're now taking the strategic direction for this collection of teams and tying and aligning it to our overall corporate objectives, strategies, and priorities. Integrate with existing business rhythms as soon as possible. Recall that with an agile approach to scaling like Team of Teams, that we're only seeking to create the connective tissue between organizational or departmental direction and strategy and what's actually going on at the teams. We're not looking to replace our entire company's way of operating wholesale. So to that end, for example, if you already have quarterly business reviews, look at how the source material from your monthly stakeholder reviews could inform and shape how you deliver and present information at the quarterly business review. Instead of implementing quarterly reviews alongside QBRs, just get to the point where you're creating the things that are missing, right? But don't start replacing things that already exist and that the organization is already happy with and that are working well as far as the rest of the organization is concerned. Hold quarterly retrospectives to allow for inspection and adaptation. With every quarter, you will have had 3 monthly stakeholder reviews since the last quarterly boundary. And that's usually enough time to, as a team of teams leadership group, set aside a moment to gather observations around how everyone sees the last quarter having gone in terms of how are we doing with portfolio backlogs and roadmaps? How are the biweekly syncs going? How are monthly stakeholders going? What are we seeing in feedback from stakeholders, from attendees? Are we gathering information from attendees at all? Should we start? Looking at all of those start, stop, continue type of topics is a great idea, not only when you're getting started, but really on an ongoing basis. Because again, as with any agile process, having a cycle by which you operate and then inspect and adapt so that over time you're continuously evolving, incrementally improving the way that you're operating is core to the fabric of taking an agile and iterative approach. Evaluate groupings and adjust as needed. What you'll find at quarterly boundaries is as you're reflecting on how things are going, there will also usually be a natural opportunity to look at the team groupings that you currently have. Recall in our episode on groupings, we talked about how groupings that you start with may seem to make a ton of sense, but then over time as you operate, you realize actually This grouping, while it seemed intuitive, it turns out not to be optimal. In fact, we think it would be better to take these 3 teams and group them with these 2, and then the remaining 3 that were there and group them with this one other. Because you're learning more as you're able to see more about what cross-functional teams are doing, and then month over month and even bi-weekly, you're seeing how things are operating in terms of execution, handoff, collaboration, dependencies. We want to fold that information into how we group and orchestrate teams going forward. And so be sure that you take time for that. But additionally, look at the people on the teams, because you want to strike a balance between opportunities for people to grow and develop and rotate and serve on other teams, so that you're also building knowledge sharing and shared values as a community of practice doing game or product development. And you should strike a balance between offering that but not having so much volatility on teams that their throughput never stabilizes, so you can't really plan or project with even directional accuracy at best. You'll recall from our... Will you recall? Have you seen it? Was that cut to these slides about the roughest transition I've done in a while? As you'll recall from our episode on core events of scaling Agile with Team of Teams, we have the slides up. They were supposed to come up just then, but they were already up because I forgot to turn them off when I screwed up the last take. Integrate with existing Happy Tuesday. Taking the episode, your episodes, some of them have other things in them that are not in this episode, because if it was the same thing every week, that would be pointless. And then as that context, no, I kind of got on a riff there. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notifications icon so that you'll be first to know when new product development videos are uploaded. If you are on your Agile scaling journey and would like support, check out the link below for information on how you can get support from me. For another interesting product development video, check out this one up here. For the entire Agile Scaling Foundation series, check out the playlist down here. I'm Hawkins. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.